Join the conversation in Tipperary. Contact us through Facebook, Twitter or email tiptoday@tippfm.com.
Welcome back to Tip Today. April is FND Awareness Month, and despite FND being the second most common reason to see a neurologist in this country, most people have never heard of it. It's a condition that can present with a wide range of neurological symptoms which can affect movement, cause sensory and cognitive issues and even seizures. After being diagnosed with motor FND in 2021, Eamon McPartlin realised there is no support organisation in this country for sufferers, so set up FND Ireland. He joins me on the line this morning. Eamon, good morning.
Good morning, Alison, and good morning to your listeners.
Good to talk to you, Eamon. Thanks for your time today. Tell us, what exactly is FND?
Yeah, so as you mentioned there, FND is a condition that can present with lots of different neurological symptoms. And I suppose the difference compared to, we'd say, a condition like MS or Parkinson's, in the main, there's no structural change in the brain. So it's more an issue with the connectivity of how the brain and body sends and receives signals to the nervous system. So as you mentioned there, it is the second most common reason to see a neurologist. And we estimate that there's 9,000 people living with FND in the country. And the other thing, I suppose, that maybe makes FND a bit different from a lot of neurological conditions is that it affects the young working age population and is increasingly being diagnosed in teenagers.
That's incredible. And will it affect everybody differently, or are there some general kind of universal symptoms that will indicate FND?
Yeah, so with FND, it does affect a lot of people differently. So in my case, I have the motor version of FND, which in the main affects my movement. But for some people, they can also have functional seizures. So to the layperson, they resemble epilepsy. To others, they may have weakness or tremors. And a lot of them tremors could be similar to someone with Parkinson's. And then for others, and it can affect memory issues and their speech, and even for some swallowing difficulties. So there's a very broad range of symptoms, but not every person who gets FND will have that range of symptoms. You may have some people that have, like myself, just the motor element of FND, and some may just have functional seizures.
I imagine the diagnosis of it then is quite difficult because maybe it can be mistaken for maybe other conditions. Is that right? Yes,
that's right, Alison. There is a little bit of frustration sometimes that it takes a long time to get FND diagnosed. Historically, FND probably was diagnosed as exclusion. So when you exclude a number of other neurological conditions, you tend to set criteria that point you in the direction of FND with healthcare professionals. Thankfully, as more awareness is being raised of the condition among healthcare professionals, is that there's now a rule-in diagnostic criteria. But the challenge we have in Ireland is that we've got no dedicated FND clinic. So FND Ireland has spent a lot of time over the last year in advocacy, and we have, thankfully, through our lobbying of government and the HSE, secured a commitment for the initial team members for the first FND clinic in the country, which will be in St James's Hospital in Dublin. But we're well aware that we need more of these clinics around the country, including one in the south of the country. And just for your listeners, to highlight that we will be in Leinster House this Tuesday coming, speaking to Oireachtas members in raising awareness of FND. And again, if there's anyone out there living with FND we'd love if they could reach out to their local TD or centre to ask them to attend. And we also just want to mention one of the local TDs, Matty McGrath, who has been great support to us in raising FND in the Dáil.
Is there a cure for it, Eamon, or is it a case of managing symptoms?
Unfortunately, there is no cure for FND. Some people can recover from FND, and it's very hard to get statistics on that, especially in Ireland. For the most part, it's managing symptoms. So with certain multidisciplinary treatment in particular, so rather than people having to go around source physiotherapy separate, psychology, occupational therapy separate, this clinic that's been formed in Dublin, which we want a number around the country, will have a team of healthcare specialists work together with someone with FND. So that we find that multidisciplinary treatment is the best way for those to make progress in living a better life with their symptoms.
Okay, stay on the line with me, Eamon, because Chloe is with us as well. Chloe, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good to talk to you this morning, Chloe. Tell me, I know you're only a young one, 24 years old. When did you first show signs of FND?
So I actually showed signs of FND at the end of January. I was just in work one day and I started getting a bad pain in my right leg. It was kind of over time then that it spread to my left leg and my both hands. So the only way I could describe it is kind of like pressurised sharp pains, almost like if you put a pin in your leg it would pop. And then I started getting pins and needles in my both feet and both hands, and one day then I just lost feeling in my little pinky on my left hand as well.
That must have been very frightening for you, was it?
Yeah, because I took a trip to A&E and I was told that it could be nerves, so I was dealing with that. I started physio straight away, and then it wasn't until that I went back to my own GP and he wasn't happy with the progress. I was in crutches for 7 weeks. I had to stop driving, I stopped work, I stopped exercising, and he wasn't happy with the progress I was making with the crutches and physio. So he referred me back then to the hospital, and it was there that I spent the week in hospital and I got diagnosed with FND. And
what was that feeling like for you then to be diagnosed with FND? Is it something you'd heard about before?
No, I had never heard of it before, and I suppose when you're in your hospital you have loads of time to be Googling and stuff like that, which is probably the worst thing you can be doing. But it's very kind of daunting to hear the words come out that it's functional neurological disorder. I'd never heard of it, my family have never heard of it, so it was something that was all new to us, and I suppose I had to deal with the diagnosis, but also understand that people hadn't heard about it, so it was quite difficult. It is really hard. And I hope that things like this will help, that people start to understand that it is quite a serious disorder.
And the symptoms that you would have, Chloe, are they symptoms you would have all the time, or do they come and go? Are they exacerbated by different things? How is it for you?
So at the start, they were always there. And I suppose with the right medication, it took a few weeks to get the right medication kind of started. And when I was going to physio at the start, I was dealing with a completely different issue. I was dealing with just one leg. Then it went to both legs, and then it went to my hands as well. So it's really just kind of managing the symptoms. And, I find walking and stuff like that really good. But at the start, I couldn't do that, whereas now I can do it because my symptoms are under control.
Yeah, I imagine things like stress must really exacerbate it too, would it?
Yeah, and stress and, becoming stressed, and I suppose it's not easy to live a stress-free life nowadays. And I had travel plans and stuff like that, so I was stressed. But then dealing with this as well probably didn't help. Yeah. You just have to be positive. At the start, I was dealing with something completely different. I didn't know that I had this until I went to hospital, and then when I had to deal with this, it was dealing with it myself, but also helping my family and friends deal with it as well, because it was something that we'd never heard about. So, when you do Google it is quite scary, because I didn't have very serious symptoms, but still they were affecting my life.
Of course. And then when you get a diagnosis of something that you've never heard of, that can be very isolating, and it's very difficult to know where to go. That's why, setting up a support group like this is so important for people like yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so important. And when I was in hospital, I came across FND Ireland, and it was so nice to know that there was other people that were dealing with this, because I suppose all my tests came back clear, and it was really hard to understand that. How could everything be clear, but yet I was in so much pain? Yeah. And it was affecting my life so much. And it was so nice. I attended the support group in Mallow a few weeks back with FND Ireland, and Eamon was there and other people that are dealing with FND, and it was so nice to hear from them that they knew what I was going through.
Yeah, can I bring Eamon back in, and I'll ask you both this question then. In terms of, the long-term view of FND, is it just a case of managing the symptoms as best you can? Eamon, I might start with you actually on that.
Yes, Alison. Definitely the research to date, and there's a lot more research to be done, because to be fair, research in FND would lag a long way behind some other neurological conditions. So what we kind of find is that there's a number of factors involved in FND. Some of them can be psychological. Some of them are now shown to be genetic. Some of them are where FND coexists, which in many cases it does, with other neurological conditions or other medical conditions. So the challenge is, I suppose, getting a program of support like that Chloe mentioned there that will work for people to manage their symptoms best. But as I said, some people can recover from FND, some people may go into remission from FND, and unfortunately the symptoms may return at a later time. So a lot of it is about managing. And I think that's why, as Chloe mentioned there, our peer support meetings, which we have in 6 locations countrywide, and our meeting in Mallow is for the south of the country, is to have people come together with that shared experience, but also then to provide local support for those living with FND and their families as well.
And where can they get information on those, Eamon?
Yeah, so the best way to get information is to contact us via our website, www.fnd.ie, and there you'll be able to see all the supports we provide and kind of focus on 5 key areas: support, advocacy, awareness, information and research. And if anyone would like to find out more, they can contact us via the website.
And Chloe, how are you doing now?
Yeah, I'm good, thank God. I suppose I just have it under control at the moment, and touch wood that I'll be able to keep it under control for the foreseeable future. But I know at least that if my symptoms do come back, that I know how to manage it and I know where to go.
Yeah, well done to you. You're a tough cookie, and you come from a long line of tough cookies as well, so I'm sure you'll be fine. Chloe, great to talk to you this morning.
So
and
much.
Eamon, thanks so much. Thank you both. Eamon, actually, I know you have a 5K coming up just very quickly. That's a fundraiser for FND.
It'd be brilliant just to have a quick mention on that, Alison, if you're fine. Yeah. So at the moment, we're running a virtual 5K throughout the month of April because it's FND Awareness Month, so people can do it any way they choose, walk, run or wheel it. And I suppose I just want to highlight in particular Gareth Saunders, who's from CARE, who's taken on the challenge in Tipperary for us. And Gareth is one of our volunteers and has helped through his own media business, all the website work that we have and social media. So for those who'd like to get involved, they can go to our 5K for FND event page and I Donate, or go to our website, www.fnd.ie, to take part, or else we'd ask them to support Gareth in Tipperary.
Great. Thank you both so much. Eamon and Chloe, thank you.
Thank you.
Tipp FM's Tipp Today.
With Slattery's Garage, puck on. It's time to change. Test drive the award-winning range of Peugeot hybrids and fully electric vehicles at Slattery's Garage today. See Slattery's Garage